Hi, welcome to Digging Deeper with Pastor Kyle, Pastor Nigel. We are back again, and now we are into the high priestly prayer in John. We are moving right along. We're finally into that place. So at the end of the last night that he's with the disciples, he's told them all the stuff in chapters 13 through 16, and now he's going to pray over them. And so that's what we covered this week is John chapter 17, verses 1 through 9. So if you could read that for us, and then we'll walk through a few of our questions that we have this week.
I forgot my glasses at home, so I'm going to get down like this. So that's what's going on. Starting in verse 1 of John 17. When Jesus had spoken these words, he lifted up his eyes to heaven and said, Father, the hour has come. Glorify your Son, that the Son may glorify you, since you have given him authority over all flesh to give eternal life to all whom you have given him. And this is eternal life, that they know you, the only true God, and Jesus Christ whom you have sent. I glorified you on earth, having accomplished the work that you gave me to do. And now, Father, glorify me in your own presence, with the glory that I had with you before the world existed. I have manifested your name to the people whom you gave me out of the world. Yours they were, and you gave them to me. And they have kept your word. Now they know that everything that you have given me is from you. For I have given them the words that you gave me, and they have received them, and have come to know in truth that I came from you. And they have believed that you sent me. I am praying for them. I am not praying for the world, but for those whom you have given me, for they are yours. Yeah.
Beautiful passage. So much it's just tremendous passage, and what he's talking about, what he's offering there to the Father. And so we could talk a long time.
We really could.
We could talk a whole long time. I'm looking at verse 3. We're not even going to hit this. And this is eternal life, that you know the only true God and Jesus Christ whom you've sent. Like that alone is
if you were listening into that prayer and that's all you heard, that would change everything.
That would change everything.
What is that? Rewind that.
Yeah. Absolutely. We don't, unfortunately, have time to go through everything, so we're just going to hit a few things here. So, first question for today is, what does it mean to us that Jesus left the glory that he had with the Father before the world began, that he left all of that to come at Christmas and become one of us?
Yeah, we kind of started there and ended there on Sunday. Going through that prayer, we came back to that to wrap it up with it, and just this first part of that prayer, to me, that's what kind of jumps out. That's this. He's Jesus praying for himself, but he's kind of giving an account of where he's come and what's going on and where he's been through. And as we talked about on Sunday, we often. We focus on the cross, which is great. We focus on the resurrection, which is great. And then sometimes we go to the ascension and recognize that he's interceding for us, which is great. And we go, well, those three things, we get that.
That's enough. It's hard enough to hold that.
Which is kind of true.
It's
true. It's not like that's not enough.
Yeah.
But if we back out, and we see some of this in Philippians we didn't even get to, if we back out from that and see it in the grander scheme of it, which is what's being displayed right here in this high priestly prayer at the beginning of it. We see this idea of Christ in glory for all eternity past, which we have no real concept of.
I have such a hard time to what was before the beginning?
Right, how do you wrap your head around that? Was it all white? Was it just darkness? No, was it light? Was there... What was
where
there?
was he?
Where was
where?
Was
where? There was nowhere.
Yeah.
It was the triune God and whatever else he has. I don't know.
It's so beyond us. It's so beyond me. But if we try to back up to that and we see this kind of image of Jesus the Son, fully God, for all eternity, in glory with the Father. Like right there, you're kind of, okay, pick yourself back up off the floor and try to keep wrapping your head around that. And I don't know if we'll ever get to we'll never really probably be able to get to where we can say, oh, wow, I get that.
Yeah.
But we can grab a hold of pieces of it. And then to think from that spot, from that platform, from eternity past to, he created time, the earth, time goes on, the story's being told now.
He made puppies.
He made puppies, yeah.
Kittens.
He sure did, yeah. And spiders too, right?
He did do that.
I don't understand that one, but another one of the mysteries of eternity is spiders exist.
He wanted to give me joy of seeing you be scared of spiders. That's what it was.
That's true. That could be it. So the time came when Jesus was to exit that. We needed to be saved, so he came out of that glory to a world with spiders. and that transition is, that stops me in my tracks.
Yeah.
Like, wait a minute. He did what and how and why, and just such a big thing. So that's the whole picture there. What does it mean to us that Jesus left his glory in heaven to come down to us? That's even all that. I think all that really does is layer on top of the awe that we should have in the fact that the God of the universe knows us, loves us, and rescued us.
Yeah.
This is the picture of the lengths that he went to. He didn't just drive across the street and say, all right, I'll take care of this problem. He exited glory, eternal glory, to come down to the dirt and live among us. And then we know the story at that. But to me, it's a whole nother level.
There's so much love that's there in it. Like, I look around and I see so many people trying to get more out of this life. Like, just trying to get more. And here is Jesus having everything. He has it all. He has it all. Right. And he gives up all of that. Yeah. And it's like, why would you do that? Why? Well, it's because he loves us that much. Yeah. He loves you that much. He cares about you that much that he would leave that for you. I think about some of the sacrifices that my wife and I have made for our kids, and the time and the attention and like the screaming sometimes. You go through all of it as a parent, but I love my kids, and I'm happy to do it. I'm happy to be a part of that. And this is on an entirely different level of sacrifice, of what he had, what he gave up for us. Mm-hmm. And so, like, I run across people a lot, and you hear a lot of like, I'm not that special, I'm not that different, I'm not that valuable. I've seen so many people that lack self-esteem and lack this care for themselves, and they don't think that they're valued. It's hard for them to see the value. It's
a false self-image. Completely.
Yeah. And it's like when we can look at what Jesus is doing and why he's doing it because he loves you that much. Mm-hmm. If we can grab that picture and hold on to that, that's going to transform how we view ourselves and how we view Christ and what he gave up for us. Something else that stuck out to me as I was looking at this is he said some nutso stuff.
Yeah, he does.
He said some crazy stuff. Like, okay, so all right, think about you're one of the disciples. And you're here, and he just washed your feet, and that was super weird.
Yes, it was.
And then he has this cryptic thing with Judas after saying somebody's going to betray him, and Peter, the leader, has just been called out. You're going to deny me 3 times.
I'm trying to make myself small in the corner.
Yeah. So you're going through a lot with all of this.
Yeah.
He goes through this whole statement that we've been going through, and then he starts praying, and then he says some things that are pretty wild. He says that his words are the Father's. Mm-hmm. He says that he manifested the Father to them. Good gracious. Yeah. And then he says, I existed in glory before creation even existed.
Yeah. Yeah, so the disciples are getting a glimpse, kind of, remember, they missed the resurrection. Like, they didn't realize he was saying that's coming. Yeah. So I'm sure I would have too, but that's a hard one. So they're missing bits and pieces, but they're getting bits and pieces too.
So your hands folded, your eyes are closed, and all of a sudden, you existed before creation?
Yeah. It's again raising the bar. Yeah. And another glimpse of information about who this Jesus, this Messiah who they understand he's the Messiah. They understand the prophecies were pointing to him, but they don't understand the depth of that.
They don't understand the depth of that.
They don't understand.
And the other thing that comes off of that is you can't say that Jesus was just a good moral teacher.
Yeah. Okay. Enough of that.
You can't say that. Like, who says that their words are God's words? Who says that I, and only I, am manifesting God to the world? Who says that
God
they...
says that.
God says that.
Right?
Right? God says that.
Yeah.
That's it. God says that, and crazy people who are lying or
Lunatics, yeah.
or just completely out of their mind.
Yeah.
They don't know what they're talking
And they're
about.
not people who have existed in glory forever
And gave that up.
unless they're him. You know, like that's
Right.
yeah. It that blows your mind. So they're hearing this, right? They're hearing that.
They're hearing
Okay,
that.
well, his words are the Father's words.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, and he's manifested the Father. Like just earlier that night, Philip was like, "Show us the Father."
Yeah.
And it'll be enough for us. And she's like, "Have you not known me yet, Philip?"
There's
You know?
verse 6. I have manifested your name
Yeah.
to the people.
Yeah.
I have shown who you are, whom you gave me out of the world. Like he's coming in with some very, very drastic things.
And then he says, "I existed in glory before creation."
Yes.
I wonder what.
Yes.
I mean, yeah. I wonder if they all just looked up and were like, "What?" And
say that?
looking at each other.
What we, who
There's-
are we praying with right now?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Be a wild
There's no
experience.
denying it anymore. You know,
Yeah.
the God Himself is there with them.
That's what it is.
You know,
That's what it comes down to. Is God came down,
Yeah.
Emmanuel, God with us. Not like, oh, Jesus is kind of like God. It's kind of like He's here. No, He's here.
He's here.
And that's the only way to look at it. It's that, or He's out of His mind.
That's it.
And then He decides to go back up to heaven. And so you really closed on this idea of Christ's holiness and His greatness, that He existed beforehand, but now He is going back to glory. He's at the right hand of the Father. And so what impact does that make to us? That Jesus is now currently in glory, seated at the right hand of the Father, and is just waiting the time till it's all complete, till He can come and set up His kingdom.
Yeah.
What impact does that make for us?
It's a great question. If you're in small groups, that's going to be one of the questions that hopefully you'll get to this week. It's a broad thing. There's the eternal perspective. There's the lifelong perspective. There's the today perspective. You know, of what is that? So a lot of times we think, oh, Jesus is right here with me. You know, and God is right here with us. It's the Spirit. That doesn't mean that the Father and the Son are not part of it. You know, you can get into all those things, which is actually really exciting and fun to look at. But the role of the Son now, current day, today, when you're watching this, the role of the Son is He is physically in His glorified body. He is physically sitting at the right hand of God the Father, interceding for us, for those who trust Him, for those who've believed what He said and act on that. And what that means is He's the go-between. He'll say, "Father, Nigel's with me. This is what Nigel needs. This is what."
And boy, does Nigel need it.
And boy, does he need it.
Boy,
Yeah.
does he need it.
and that in itself. So we come before the Father, and Nigel spoke about this 2 weeks ago, I think. We come before the Father because the Son has opened that door and said, "You have access to go in there." But Jesus is the one that's interceding there. He's the way in. And He's our representative in that space, I guess is the good way to look at it. So to me, the times when I'm like, man, I just can't bring myself to pray, whether it's guilt or whether it's shame or whether it's depression, whatever it is,
Caught
just
up with the stuff of the
gloomy.
world.
You're like, oh, everything's terrible.
This is all
Whatever it is. Yeah, hopefully we all go through that. I'm not the only one, right?
You hope people go through that?
I hope we all go
I
through
know,
that.
I
I'm not
know
the
what you
only
mean.
one.
I know what you mean.
I hope you're really suffering.
I
from
hope
that,
you're
Nigel.
really
Yeah.
suffering as well.
Yeah, but when I find myself in that spot, I find it easier to kind of picture myself in that and to understand the workings of it when I know that Jesus, who walked on earth, who was resurrected in a glorified body, is physically sitting before the Father, the God of the universe, the first member of the Trinity, with glory unspeakable, speaking on my behalf.
Yeah.
Well, that puts things in perspective.
Yeah.
On a whole other, like, I'm not chasing anything now. I'm not going to be worried about little things. I'm not going to lose my mind about something I can't control when that's what's actually happening.
Yeah.
So that's the today kind of side of it.
That your joy may be full. That's
Yeah.
what we talked about
That's
a
right.
couple weeks ago.
That's right.
That's what He's setting up. He's setting up your joy can be full because I go to the Father.
Yeah.
And if I go to the Father, it's because I conquered everything. I've overcome the world. And so I think that's a good place to leave off, is let your joy be full this week because Jesus is at the right hand of the Father. Take heart. He has overcome the world. We love you guys, and we will see you guys next time.